Hello and welcome to this video. Thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of the vitamin ritual. I'm sure you've probably heard a lot about this. If you're anything like me, I kept hearing ads for Ritual, lots of brand deals and stuff on podcasts, YouTube videos, all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to admit, it worked. I was convinced. I was like, this actually sounds pretty good. I'm going to try it out. So I tried it for a month and I'm going to share with you what I thought, if it was worth it. At the end, I'm going to talk about ultimately, like, would I buy it again? Would I choose something else? And definitely watch to the end if you want recommendations on other multivitamins as well. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start out with the pros. The first thing we'll talk about is the price. I'm listing this in the pros because I think it was reasonable, especially if you're buying for the first time. It's pretty easy to get a discount. The regular cost is $33 a month, and like I said, it's pretty easy to get at least 15% off of that. So not too bad, for a multivitamin that's decent. I put that as a pro. However, if that's not reasonable for you, then that could be also considered a con. But to me, I wouldn't say that this was like super good either. It just kind of barely made it into the pro category, but price wasn't too bad. I was able to get Essential for Men's multivitamin for my husband, and then the Essential for Women for myself. And it was about $50 total for 1 month supply. That was with a discount, I think. I can't remember exactly, but $50 for both of us, that's not too terrible. Pro number 2 is what was really advertised about Ritual, which is the traceability. It's really traceable. You can trust the ingredients and the testing, and that is something I really appreciate, and that's ultimately how they convinced me. I was like, this sounds really great. I really like that. I love when there's transparency. I want to know, like all of us do, what is in the supplement that I'm taking, the multivitamin that I'm taking. So that was pro number 2. I do appreciate the traceability of the ingredients in this supplement. Now for pro number 3, I really appreciate that they actually had a study specifically on their multivitamin. It was specifically about how well it increased vitamin D levels and omega-3 levels after taking this multivitamin. The results really were good. It indicates that this is a good way to increase your vitamin D levels, your omega-3 levels, and I think the way that it's encapsulated could also play a role in that, in how effective it actually is. I really do appreciate that they actually have research to back their claims. That's always great. It's definitely good to see that when you just go on their website, you can easily see their research on this, and I do appreciate that. That is the end for the pros, and I know that this was pretty short, but ultimately this video is gonna be a little bit more on the critical side of Ritual, because I just hear so much about the good stuff about Ritual. So if you're considering buying this, I really want to give you my honest opinion of some things that I don't love about Ritual. So let's get into the cons. Let's start with con number 1, the most immediate thing that I noticed, which is the taste, or rather the aftertaste. I will give them this. They have citrus and mint. The ones I got, it was like a minty coating. So when you take it, you taste the mintiness, and it's like, ooh, that's nice. I really do appreciate that. That's different. I've never experienced another multivitamin or anything that had that minty taste. I do appreciate that. However, there is nothing that they could do to cover up the fishy taste. It wasn't too bad upon taking it, the fishy taste wasn't terrible, but it was there. I belched fish for hours and hours after taking this. It wasn't just a couple times right after. It was ridiculous. It was terrible, and it made me so nauseous. It made me want to throw up. If I wouldn't have burped, it would have been fine. But burping and tasting and smelling that, I was like, I'm gonna throw up. That is terrible. It is disgusting. So that might be a unique situation. Maybe it won't make you burp. I don't know why it made me burp so much, but another thing about me, I do burp probably more than the average person. That's definitely something that I'm sure not everybody would experience this, but be warned, because ultimately I was For the future, I kind of wanted to look for something that if it also, offers a prenatal, I was like, I want to know for the future. And I was like, I would never be able to take that while like fighting off morning sickness and like be burping fish. Like that's horrible. It already is making me want to throw up. So be warned. That was terrible. That really caught me off guard because I was like, ooh, it's minty. I like this. And then I was hit with the truth, which is just horrific. So that is con number 1. Con number 2 and 3 are kind of all jumbled together, but I'll try to separate them as nicely as possible. Con number 2 was essentially that I'm not impressed with the amount of vitamins and minerals that are in this supplement. I'm personally totally okay with a multivitamin not having like every single vitamin and mineral on the planet. I'm totally okay with that. I understand that the multivitamin is to fill in the gaps. It's not to just like give you every single thing you need on a silver platter, because ideally our nutrition is covering at least some of the bases. But I just was kind of confused at the choice of vitamins that are in there. Like there was no vitamin A, which is something that's really important for, like fertility and stuff like that. So I was kind of surprised by that. And there was barely any magnesium. There was like a tiny bit of magnesium, probably just to help with absorption. But I really like to see magnesium in my multivitamin because, so many of us are deficient in magnesium and we can't really get it from food alone. So I just was not very impressed. There's not a ton in here as far as like variety of vitamins and minerals. It was lacking some key ones. I'm really glad that it has vitamin D, that it has omega-3s, like that's great. But it's not very comprehensive. So if you're wanting a more robust, comprehensive multivitamin, then Ritual probably is not for you. Now to move on to con number 3, which like I said, it's kind of along the same vein as con number 2, which is talking about what all is actually in the multivitamin. It does have iron, and that's just kind of a nitpicky thing, is I don't want my multivitamin to have iron because it is so individual. Unless you actually do have like a deficiency, you don't really want to be taking iron that you don't need. There's a lot of podcasts and information out there about why this might be the case. So you can definitely read up on that on your own. Absorption is also a concern. When it's just in with everything else, it might not be very easily absorbed. It could actually be bad for your body instead of good for your body if you don't actually need that iron. So a lot of women do need at least some iron because, we're bleeding every month. So especially if you have heavy periods, you may need that support. But iron is also something that you definitely could get in your diet as well. So it's really individual. So it's best to be taken, if you do need it, to be taken apart from your multivitamin. So like I said, it's kind of nitpicky. I don't think it's probably a huge deal, but it's just something I personally did not want to see in my multivitamin. So that is all for my pros and cons list. So let's talk about, how do I feel about Ritual overall? Would I buy from them again? Would I maybe try something else? Would I get a multivitamin from someone else? Honestly, I would never get another thing from Ritual again. The aftertaste alone was just so horrific that which sounds dramatic, but I took a whole month's worth supply, every day for a month. So like I was able to do it, but I would never do it again. Okay, it was just not good. I was not impressed. Personally, I just feel like there are so many other multivitamins out there that you could definitely find something better. Moral of the story is, I personally would not recommend Ritual. I was not a fan of it, and I would not buy it again. Now, to give you some ideas to look into, maybe after you watch this video, I have been really impressed as I've been reading up on needed multivitamins. They have prenatals, they have fertility like supplements for both men and women, which I really like. And they also have prenatals that are a powder form, and it's like a vanilla, so you could just like add it to a drink or a smoothie or something. And I really like that idea, especially if maybe you either know that you have really bad morning sickness or you're just worried you don't know how bad your morning sickness will be. I think that's a really cool option because I know some women might not be able to, like take a capsule or something and swallow without like throwing up. I really love all of the options that they have, the bioavailable ingredients that they choose, the type of vitamins and minerals that they choose to include, and like that's one that they do not include iron in their multivitamin. So that's something that I'm going to be looking into, and I'm planning to try that next. I'll definitely make a video on that about how I felt about that, pros and cons, all of that stuff. I recommend that you look into that if after this video you're still looking for a multivitamin or a prenatal or something like that, because I've been really impressed just with what I've been reading up on about the needed multivitamin. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you are interested in learning more information about fertility, how to increase your overall health for your fertility and for your cycle health, if you want to learn more about your cycles, tracking your cycles, all kinds of stuff like that, I make videos on all things cycle health related. I am a fertility educator / menstrual cycle educator. So I make a lot of videos about the menstrual cycle and fertility and all of that good stuff. Definitely check out my channel if you're interested in more videos like this. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Bye!